So on job sites, there's certainly a lot of mental health challenges that aren't obvious to a lot of us. We're always focusing on the obvious ones, which are physical health. But when you look at the demanding hours, you look at the stress that is constant on projects, that's an industry issue. Mental health is a real problem. It wears on the individual, and we need to be able to identify that risk no different than if it was a physical health issue.
When people think of health, they think immediately of physical health. You know, did you break your leg on a job site? Did something fall on you or whatnot? And yet people seem to forget that your brain is an organ. People say that mental health is just as important as physical health, and yet that's not the full truth, because mental health is physical health. Any other organ in your body is allowed to break down, and that's accepted in our society, and yet when your brain is not functioning the way that it should or could be, we view that with a different lens.
You know, speaking up about it is certainly not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And I think we need to make sure that everybody on our team understands that. That's important. You know, if you have an issue, or one of your team members does, that's, you know, a lingering issue, you start to feel off in the morning, it's no different than having a chest pain. You know, if you have a chest pain, that's a sign that there's something physically wrong that could become, you know, real serious issue. No different than mental health.
If you're a field person and you go through someone getting in an argument, or you see this person break down, what do you do?
I always say that the most important thing you can do for somebody who's struggling is to listen. And when I say listen, I really mean active listening. So that requires you really to sit quietly and just hear somebody out, hear what they have to say, allow them to share openly about their feelings and how something at work might be affecting them. I know in the workplace there is probably an extra stigma. People are scared of losing their jobs if they express something considered weakness.
Yes, I think we all need to be honest that there is a stigma with mental health that probably prevents you know, people from wanting to talk about it, and that's something we need to make sure that we can talk about, because it's as important, if in many cases more important, than some of the physical health issues.
Yeah, I think the conversation around mental health right now couldn't be more timely. With the opportunities that exist within the industry right now, the expansion of opportunities among not ourselves but our contract partners, I think the opportunity for us to all find our voice is critical.
We've seen a lot of challenges come from the pandemic, but a certain silver lining is that because we've all gone through this shared traumatic experience, there's never been a better time to get people to open up about their mental health, because it really has affected everyone in some way, shape, or form.
On a daily basis, an individual could be suffering from mental health because of excessive stress. You know, maybe it's preoccupation with a financial worry, with some other concern that does affect their mental health, maybe at a low level, but that's a level that's enough to impact their performance and their ability to work with the rest of the team.
I applaud Haskell for recognizing the need to open the dialogue, and I've been reading up about your employee assistance program, so I would encourage you to reach out. There are workshops on that website for you to take. There are people that you can speak to, and especially if you don't feel comfortable talking to a colleague or a boss, your HR department is there to help you, and I would really encourage you to take that first step for yourself.
Their open door policy is real. I'll text him crazy stuff, and and he'll, you know, respond to it, and it's just, it makes you comfortable, so that when you have something serious, you're comfortable going to him.
You know, nobody is free from mental health issues. But when it becomes serious, you know, we have to be able to talk about it and make sure that it's no different than talking about a physical health issue. We owe it to our team members to have those conversations, be there to listen, and that everyone trusts that we're there to help them.
We think it's really important that we recognize the obligation on our organization to provide the safest environment for our workforce, no matter who it may be. Embracing our clients' partnership in those processes are important, but also I think that collectively working in that partnership, which I stress partnership, between all parties. That's contract partner, Haskell colleagues, and as well as our clients. We deliver that expectation every single day, and take on the obligation and own it to the point of making sure that we deliver the best product possible with safety at the forefront.
I just think it's really cool that the senior leadership of Haskell is taking the time to recognize that mental health is an issue and that they're telling you to reach out for help, and they're sharing with you that they've struggled also, and that, you know, everybody deals with this kind of thing. If you're watching this now and it resonates and it hits home, I would urge you to reach out for help, whether it's somebody at work or it's somebody in your household. Just pick somebody that you trust and tell them how you're feeling. It's worth it. And we have this culture in our society that asking for help is a sign of weakness, and in reality, it's a sign of strength. So I want to empower you to take that first step for yourself. And I know it can be the hardest step because you're worried what other people might think, or you're worried about letting yourself down or your ambition or whatnot. But I can assure you that reaching out for help is the best move that you can make for yourself, and I hope that you will.